Hi, it's Patty from Thronatisca, and today I can see you. Can you see me? We're going to look at the eye. The eye is a pretty complex, complicated piece of machinery. So we're going to start by looking at this model. Then we're going to do an activity that you can do at home to help you understand how your eye works. So first of all, let's just get an idea of what makes up the eye. So this first part right here, which is the very, very outside of your eye, is called the cornea. And this cornea, if it gets glazed over, like when people are old, they might have a hard time seeing. So sometimes people can go to the doctors and get some surgery done to help with them seeing through this cornea. But light is going to pass through there, so that cornea needs to be clear. Now, right behind this cornea is called the aqueous humor. Now, aqueous stands for water. So this is a pretty watery substance that is behind there. And water is pretty awesome because, as you've seen probably in another video, there are a lot of optical properties that we can see just by playing with water. Water can magnify things, it can appear to change the shape of things. Now, right behind here, this is the pupil. The pupil is that black thing in the middle of your eye. Whenever you make a color of an eye with your coloring crayons, you color the eye brown or blue, okay? That in the center of that, you color it black. That is your pupil. Well, the funny thing about the pupil is, it is not a solid black object. The pupil is actually a hole in the eye. The part that you color, either brown or blue or green, the thing that makes your eyes so pretty is this part right here that is called the iris. The iris can be all kinds of different colors. And that's what makes, one thing that makes it so special and unique. Now this is a lens. The lens is a great big lens. It's an actual lens. Now, when you get in high school, you might be able to dissect a sheep's eyeball. Sounds great, huh? You can actually pull this lens out, and you wouldn't think that it would feel the way it feels, but it feels like a really hard lens. Now, behind the scenes, this is where everything starts working. Once light passes through here, this pupil, sometimes our pupils are open very wide, like at nighttime when there's very little light, and sometimes they get very small, like in the daytime when there's a lot of light. What happens, the iris contracts or it expands to either allow light to come in at night or restrict the amount of light that goes in during the daytime to help protect the back part of our eye right here. So light comes in through here, and you can see that there's lots of blood vessels in the eye. There's also lots of nerves in the eye. Now, we said that this was the aqueous humor. Back here, there's a jelly-like substance in the eye. Pretty cool, pretty slimy. But this is called the vitreous humor. Okay, aqueous and vitreous humor. Now, right here, you see this little thing called the fovea. The eye, the reason that we can see lightness and darkness is because of these little things that's called rods. They are little receptors in the eye, back in here, that are kind of shaped like rods. So these sense whether something is light or dark. And we're not the only species to have these things. There are plenty of species that have the rods. So when we look at other species, if you've ever wondered, how can we know what other species see and what it is like to see something if you're a spider, well, we can understand the parts of our eye and say, oh, this species has rods. So we can assume that they can sense lightness or darkness. But now we're pretty special. Not only can we see lightness and darkness, we can also see color. And that's because we have these little things, these little receptors back here that are called cones. And cones can see color. Again, we're not the only species that can see color. So when we look at different eyeballs of different species, we can put all this information together and kind of figure out what it's like to look at something from their perspective. Now, the rods and the cones are back here in this part that is called the retina. So light is going to come in and it's going to get focused back here, and this part back here is your retina. So it's important that we have healthy eyes, because this area has to stay really healthy if we want to see well. And notice that you've got these things that are coming in here. Back here, you have your optic nerve. Now, your optic nerve concentrates all in one place, and it carries information back to your brain. So, this is a pretty neat setup, but it has its limitations. The problem with having the optic nerve right here in one place, going right to your brain, is that we get this thing called a blind spot. So, when I'm driving down the road and everybody starts honking at me because I cut them off when I'm in the wrong lane, which, okay, it happens more than I'd want to admit, but it's because I have this thing called a blind spot. And so when I'm looking out my rearview mirrors, I'm missing the car that is coming up behind me, and my mirror's not picking it up. So there's a blind spot because of the placement of the mirror in my car. Well, there's the same thing going on with my eye, but we don't ever notice our blind spot because our brain fills in information. It says, I know that something is supposed to be in this place, and so the brain fills it in. It's like taking a photo that you see on TV for one of those crime shows, and they say, what do you think this number is? And then the crime detective expert punches on his computer and they enhance the photograph, and then you can read your license plate. Well, your brain kind of is doing the same thing. But I've got an activity for you to do at home, and that is you can find where your blind spot is. All you have to do is take a little card, an index card, and you can put a plus and a dot there. Now, you're going to cover, first of all, you can cover your left eye, and you're going to focus on the dot, and you're going to move it until you no longer see the plus. When that plus disappears, that is where your blind spot is. That's an area that you can't see something out of that eye. So luckily we have two eyes, but now you can do the same thing over here with your right eye. You can focus on the plus sign, cover it up, move it forward until that dot disappears. And it will literally disappear. That is your blind spot. Have fun trying this at home. So a lot of people don't have great vision. Like me, I wear glasses. So let's understand why this happens. In a normal eye, you can see that in a normal eye, the light is going to come in and it's going to focus right back here on the retina. Because remember, the retina is where our sensory neurons are. This is the part of the eyeball that picks up the information and sends it from the optic nerve to the brain. But some people are nearsighted. That means they can see things that are close up. The problem with people who are nearsighted is that instead of the light coming in and focusing back here on your retina, it comes and focuses to a point before the retina. And so if your lens is not shaped correctly, then the focal point where everything comes together is somewhere up here before your retina. And so you need glasses to help it focus on the retina. So you have these kind of glasses. Someone who is nearsighted is going to have glasses that look like this, that are concave on each side and are going to focus the light right here on the retina. Now, a person who is farsighted, they can see things that are far away, but they have trouble seeing things that are close up. What happens there is when the light comes in, again, instead of focusing back right here on this retina, it focuses farther away. This is where everything is focused whenever we're talking about someone who is farsighted. So a farsighted person can wear glasses that are convex on one side and concave on the other side to help them focus the light on one place. Now, when you get old like me, really old, I started out as a child, I was nearsighted. I could see things that were close up just fine, but I couldn't see things far away. Then as I got older, I would start going for my yearly or 2 or 5 yearly exams for my optometrist. And the optometrist kept saying, well, you're not as nearsighted as you used to be. And I thought, go me, I'm really doing something great. But here's the thing. He said, as you get older, you kind of go from being nearsighted to farsighted. So that I was just totally deflated. I thought I'd really, really done something good, like Rambo, and exercise my eyeballs. Because what happens when we get old, these are the optic muscles. And I'm not there yet. Of course, my muscles are very toned, except for my eyeballs. I don't know what's going on there. But these muscles kind of, weaken a little bit. And they don't shape that lens like they used to be. So here I was, thinking that I'm doing something great and just being this really super-sighted person. But no, I was going from being a nearsighted person to a far-sighted old woman. And I hated that. And so I had to get these things called bifocals. And so when you see old people that have to kind of look over top of their glasses to talk to you, or it looks like that they're getting on to you because they give you that look over the top of their glasses, they may not actually be giving you that look on purpose. The thing is, bifocals have one area that allows you to see close up. Okay, so if you are farsighted and your focal point is back here, one area of your glasses is going to help you see close up. Another area of your glasses is going to help you see things that are far away. So those are called bifocals. And we do not have a picture of them there. And hopefully age will be a little bit better on you than it is on me. But people who wear bifocals, they have trouble focusing light here and here. So they have to have a special lens that can do it for them. Do you wear glasses? If you do, take a look and see what kind of lens you have. I hope you've enjoyed this video.